Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It is March 22nd and we're out here in the garden. We're going to do a garden tour and we're going to show a little bit about what we're harvesting. Let's start the tour here in the big greenhouse. And today we're harvesting our spinach. We've got 3 bushels of it that we harvested, 1 row here. We've let it get a little bit larger this time because the flavor wasn't quite strong as we like it. And we always try to harvest for the market so it tastes like we prefer. And then that way it seems to be good. But we've taken out 1 complete row. The way we harvest this is we cut it completely. We don't pick leaves because several years that we've done it picking leaves, it seems like every time we get finished, the bugs come in and start eating. They sense it's been stressed, and they'll come in here and start attacking it. So we end up with just 1 picking, and the rest is not marketable. We do put it up. We'll cook it down and we'll vacuum pack and freeze it. But that doesn't do anyone else any good, and we've got plenty in the freezer. So we just eat what we can fresh, and then we sell the rest. That's our motto, like Bluebell: eat all we can and sell the rest. But anyway, our carrots are doing good. As you can see, they're coming along. Our beets are doing really well too. I know I had someone come in here and say, aren't those planted a little close? And I said, no, they aren't, because they'll push their way out. We'll pick the bigger ones, twist them out, and then we'll take and let the other ones grow on. It's not like we harvest them all at one time. It gives kind of an extended harvest. The golden beets are looking good too, and of course the spinach is looking wonderful. Now I've been trying to sort out my fig trees in here. We're carrying some to the market this week, and we're picking out which ones we're going to put in the ground. Like we need more, but we're going to add them. Our sweet potato slips are doing good. What I'm going to end up doing, because it's still a little while before we're going to plant these, I'm going to cut these off and put these in, a lot of them in pots, let them root, and let these continue to grow and produce slips. Now our banana trees are much happier. If you've seen our video where we build them little raised beds, I guess you could say, so they'll be a whole lot better shape, more fertilization, and be able to keep more water on them. We'll go over here to our other bed over here. Our chives are doing well. We've taken some out. We're going to take them to the market. We've got some plants that needs to go in the ground. This here's our romaine that did germinate good. And then we've got our musculin mix. Now, possibly both of these are going to go in that row when the spinach is coming out. Next time we harvest, next week, we're going to take out the 2 rows partially down for however much we need for the market, and then we'll start planting that bed with these. We do have some collards there. We want to get those out. We've got some bok choy, I believe. No, this is musculin. This is Michihili. And we still got to get our herbs out of here. And we've got some more flowers that we need to do something with. Our elderberry plants are doing okay. Our Filderkraut cabbage is, all of it's forming nice heads over here. Now that side looks better because I'm picking out all these leaves that are damaged, because all these are going to do is cause the plant to have extra stress trying to deal with these damaged ones. It's best just to remove them. They're not as active anymore. Let these others fold out, take their place, and they'll do a whole lot better with the photosynthesis and everything. Now we've got some of our plants here. We've got some, if I could remember without looking at the tag, but I can't. This is Seminole squash, or pumpkins as I would call it. I try to help them get their seeds off there easy. And then we've got some zucchinis here. that we planted a few of them, and they're still germinating. And over here we've got all sweet watermelons. We didn't have real good germination off the first batch, but as you can see, we've got good germination off of that one. And then over here, and while we're here, we'll help those out. These are lemon drop melons. Now, lemon drop melon is not a real big melon, kind of like a cantaloupe, not real big, but it's a nice citrusy flavor, and that's why they call it lemon drop. But you can see our heads are forming up nice in there. Some's bigger than others. Now these are our extra plants, and we've been dropping a few in here and there where we've had a failure. Right here, this is our Hell's Best cantaloupes. These are at the right size that I like to put them out. And then right beside them here, we got our Rocky Ford melon, which is a kind of a green cantaloupe. We've got a few burgundy okra that we germinated early. We've got a few peppers here that need to be put out in different varieties. It's not planted yet. Over here, this is our prolific yellow squash. That's the ones that were too little when we put the rest out. Now they're big enough they can go out. And then right here, and they are struggling in here, these are, I think it's a mesquite pumpkins. It's kind of a fairy tale pumpkin. That's I believe that's right. I have to check, because that might be the one that they say is ideal for saving pumpkin seeds. Now we have a few sunflowers here that we had real poor germination on them. We'll probably plant some more. And over here is our honeydews. They're doing okay. Now we had some Clemson okra here. It didn't germinate very well, and it's not doing all that great. Now we planted some other varieties. This right here is my Pecos Save Seed cantaloupes, and we're going to see how they taste this year. We've got Legacy watermelons. These are all sweet, and like I say, they didn't germinate too well. The others look a lot better. We've still got a few Roselle hibiscus. We got one that we need to replace in the row, but the rest are doing fine. Over here, we got Jubilees, Tender Sweet, and Black Diamond watermelons. These are all ready to go out, and as soon as the rain stops, maybe we might do it this weekend. We'll put them in the lower garden spot. We have Israel cantaloupes right here, and they're doing pretty good. They didn't seem to germinate good off the bat, but I guess they were a little slow. Now they're coming on. We have some yellow zucchini, and then we have some Cocozelle. Now the Cocozelle didn't germinate real good on that, but we got another batch inside, and these here are more prolific yellow squash. And then we have two varieties of cucumbers, and we'll have to find a place for those. Our radishes, they're getting a little bit big, getting a little dowdy inside, but we might carry a few to the market. We just have to see if we can find some good ones. And this plant that looks like a weed right here is actually radicchio that's come back. We had a little patch here, and it's come back from the stem. Normally we have to come back and cut it off further down. But as you can see, these heads are starting to get some pretty good size. Won't be long. We'll be taking and picking those. Now down here, our dinosaur kale is not doing real well down at that end, but it'll be okay. We'll have plenty of it. Our Mitchahili here, we're going to start harvesting some of this week. We did have just a couple go to seed, but this is seeming to do pretty good. Our artichokes are doing good. Now, for those of you that are new, now we just had a freeze not this past week, and it got down to 32, well maybe 31, and I want to show uh, some of the effects here in the garden. Now we covered these plants up. Now they might got a little burning on the tip where the pot was over them, but they did survive. Now down here, of course, our Mitchell Healy didn't have to be covered. Now I do see another one going to seed right here, but like I say, we're going to harvest these a little small. Right here, she's picking lettuce. We're going to take some lettuce bags to the market. This is really growing good. Our red cabbage, it's doing pretty good. We have lost a few. We've got a few spots there. This is our next batch of radishes. This is different. That one was French breakfast. This is a white tip. Our cilantro's doing good. Now that cold weather did occasionally, it turns the top of the leaf purple, which is not a problem. The flavor is just the same, but it's doing good. And our dill's doing good. Now it's small, but it is big enough we can harvest some of this and take to the market this week. It's a constant battle as we go through here, keeping grass and stuff, but we try to keep it good and clean. Now I did put the rest of the little red cabbage that we had in the trays, put them in the ground, replace the ones that was dying up here, and so it's in good shape. We'll go on into the little greenhouse. Now, as always, this filter kraut is smaller than the other. It was put in just a little later, and it didn't get quite as much water, so it's a little smaller, but it is starting to form good sized heads there. Our celery, for those of you that try to grow celery in areas where it's warmer, now celery is slow, but here's the thing we've been having to watch in the garden. Every time we go through, we have to watch these caterpillars, and if you're one of those that ain't a hands-on gardener, you'll find that it doesn't take long for them to get out of control. While we're right here, here's our pumpkin, or I call this fairy tale too. This is my single seed challenge. It's starting to get a little size, just a little pale though. It's been getting quite a bit of water. Now we did take out the row of cilantro that was bolted, that was right in this bed here, so we're ready to put something else in there. Our garlic is doing good. Now we're wanting to redo this bed, but we're going to wait. We do have to come back and cut our collards off a little bit shorter, make sure they're not going to grow back. But what we're going to do is, and it's not the best place for part of the time because the greenhouse shades it just a little later, but we're going to put our okra in this row right here this year. And just leave the garlic, and then we can come back and harvest it as it gets bigger. And that way we just kind of have it interplanted with okra, which should do fine. And hopefully the garlic will keep any pests away that might affect it. Now we've got just a few cabbages here. These will not go to the market. We took most of these out that was small. Wasn't doing good, or the head was cracking. This one looks like it's fixing to crack too. We'll take these last three and we'll make us some slaw and be in good shape. Now our rosemary here, these are the ones that I grew from seed, and then those are the ones that I bought last year and kept in the greenhouse. But I think they're going to like this area down here. Our blueberries are blooming up a storm. We should start seeing a lot of blueberries on them pretty soon. We've also got some peppers here. Now these are cowhorn peppers, and we had one pepper right here that something just bit the bottom off. We're going to slip another variety in there. Hopefully we won't have a problem with anything we dug around. Didn't see it, but I'm guessing it was a cutworm. But our Roselle is doing real good. Most of them are really great. Looks like something come in and took care of that. It could have possibly been the wind, but I think something probably come in here and bit it off. We do have one more plant that's over there that doesn't look very healthy, and we'll drop those spare part plants in there. It won't matter. We planted these in real close. They'll be like a hedge. So even if that gap was in there, the way Roselle plants grow, it's not going to affect it. Now our apple trees are leafing out. I haven't seen any signs of blooms. I've been kind of trying to watch, hoping that they would bloom this year. That and bloomed last year, but I don't see any signs of it yet. But it did put on leaves beforehand. Now when we come out here, and as you can see, we got a problem up there. Like I say, you have to be on top of this and watch, because if you don't, a lot of these that are webworms and such, they'll take over, they'll lay their eggs, and then you'll have to deal with it with a pesticide. And there are organic pesticides that will take care of it, but it's best if you just pay attention when you're there, take a look at it. And I check them fairly often, because I'm trying to see if they bloom. I'm going to have to possibly hand pollinate a lot of these flowers in order to get them to take, because my Granny Smith, and I'm going to probably move one out here. I'll do some air layering, but the they need a cross pollinator, so they'll do good. Now we'll go down here. These cucumbers were not covered during the freeze. Now we did see a few that has had a problem, but with the cold weather, you'd have thought it would have affected all of them. Now what we'll do is we'll come back in, because we have plenty of seedlings ready to go. But it's amazing that with the cool weather, these did so well. And I'll show you some other stuff, and that's the reason why. Now we do almost have all our tomato cages out. We've got 9 more we've got to put together. We've got a few more baskets to put on our peppers. We have some peppers down here, which these were covered, but it looks like these 3 here might not make it. They look pretty rough. We'll see what happens, but the others, this one kind of got burnt, but I think it might be okay, and this one just got a few leaves burnt on it. But if we have to, we'll drop some more peppers in there. The tomatoes are looking wonderful. If you remember, I planted these peppers and tomatoes way early. It's the 22nd of March. Our average last frost date is the 28th. And so far, we've had really good luck with the weather. We're nice and ahead on the game, almost a month ahead. So even though we had that freeze, it looks like we're pretty much going to avoid any more really bad weather. We've still got a few beds in here that we're going to need to get planted. Our tomatillos, they're looking fairly good now. We have 5 of them that survived, and we put in 3 Cherokee purple tomatoes here where these 3 had died, and they're a little bit smaller because they were in their container a little bit longer. It looks like I didn't count these, so I need 11 cages for tomatoes. But they're all doing good. Now these turnips are not doing good at all. We're going to harvest a few of the good leaves if we can find them, maybe from that batch there, and then we're going to harvest a bunch of the mustard for the market this week. Our herbs here are doing good. Chamomile's been blooming, and the echinacea, or the purple coneflower, as you can see, it's getting ready. So won't be long, we'll have some beautiful blooms in the garden. Our strawberries are doing good. They're just now starting to turn. They are loaded up with strawberries, which is great. You can see them all on there. Carrots are doing good. We've been picking some of these, but the cold weather has started some of them to go into seed. You can see when it starts getting thick and the leaves starts coming up like this, this is going to seed. We're not going to save any seeds off these carrots, so we got to pick them. Well, I was just informed the mustard is full of aphids, so doesn't look like it's going to the market. Now our onions, we've been having a whole lot of them that's been bolting, which we hadn't been wasting them. Once they start to shoot a seed top out, we've been chopping them up and freeze dry them for green onions, which we do use a lot. Now these cucumbers up here, we did put pots over them, so most of them look really good. And it did get cold. It actually was it started to freeze our bird bath. It was light ice on it, and there was frost on top of the pots, which, so it's good that we put them on. That did save them. Same thing here with our yellow squash. Our garlic is unaffected as always. Now I do have some chamomile at different places in the garden, and you can see they're going to flower, but I just left them. They'd be good for the pollinators, and I can harvest the chamomile flowers just as well wherever they are. So that's where we're at there. Now over here, these onions were put in a little bit later than a lot of these others. They did fare better, but as you can see, there's holes in here because the freeze didn't get them. They're not splitting off into two onions like a lot of the others because they died from the freeze and come back from the bulb. But they are thinking it's its second year, and some of them's bolting. Now this batch of onions over here, which was planted real late, it's doing good. Now these were intended for green onions. We might harvest a few out of here this week. They are big enough, and we do need to thin these out so that the rest can go ahead and bulb up. Our head lettuce, our red romaine, is still hanging in there. Hopefully aphids won't come in. I do see a few bug holes. We do try to save it from happening, but you know, bugs are one of those things you cannot completely eliminate. Now I do need to do some weeding up in here. The leek is doing good. It's growing fast, so it won't be long. It'll be ready. Now we do have some other head lettuces here. I think maybe some Black Seed Simpson, maybe some Butter Crunch. I don't know, different varieties. This Savoy cabbage down here didn't do well at all. It's all of it from, it was planted to the end of the row. As you can see, there's only one that's past this point. They just all died. And that's all part of gardening. So you got to expect that if you're going to garden, you're going to have crop failures. Now, our herbs over here are doing good. The cold weather didn't affect any of these. Now, it does look like I got something coming in wanting to eat on my marshmallow plants, and we'll have to do something with it. And our basil did survive okay. Now, the end of our row is starting to get weedy again. We're going to have to take care of it. The catnip looks like it's close to time to harvest again, so we'll probably harvest it and freeze dry it. And we're going to need to do something with our lemon balm. it's definitely filled out, and we need to harvest some of it and the peppermint that's next to it. Now, as we come back over here, and if you notice my cabbage, now we didn't cover this, but I don't know what was in this cold weather whenever it come in, the ice nucleation or something that happens. Those of you that study the upper aerosols and stuff might know better. But this cabbage would normally take down to 28 degrees. And when I had cucumbers survive, and that's why I was talking about that, but when I had it hit so hard up here, that makes you wonder something. Now, I do have one plant here. I don't know if maybe it wasn't covered or something that did get froze. These are, I think, the purple tomatillos. This one here, it was covered, but you can see where the cover was close to the top where it burned it, and hopefully it'll come back. But it did this to my cabbage, and it did this to my broccoli, and this is not a common thing for that. I say warm, even though it's cold. That high of cool temperature, it shouldn't have had a effect on it. So, and I could tell it felt colder than it actually was. It did the same thing over here to my Savoy cabbage. Now, I did have a few Savoys in here that had died, and I think I put in broccoli in their place. So, and it's doing good. These, of course, the new batch cilantro did fine, and my filter kraut cabbage is doing fine. Now, our borage that was here, you can see the freeze was rough on it, but it'll come on back. It's not going to have a problem. And it actually got our bok choy. You can see where it's got problems with the leaf, which will probably end up making it want to bolt. And it won't surprise me if I start seeing flower tops. So we might not have any bok choy this year. The celery, it's fine. It didn't care. Now, the beans we didn't cover, and you can see it got kind of rough on them. They should recover just fine. All these tomatoes that were covered are doing good. Even though the peppers weren't covered up here, they had done real good. Our peas are still setting blooms. Cold weather, they can take cold weather good. They don't like the heat. Yesterday we came out here and set out our Emerald Giant bell peppers that they definitely needed in. They were getting big enough in the container, and they slow down if I leave them too long. And our little flower corner with our snapdragons and our bachelor buttons and our borage, it all did fine. So it was hit and miss with the cold weather. Now let's go over. We're going to look and see how the potato patch is doing. No, this isn't the potato patch, but I forgot I needed to go by the asparagus patch, and we've got lots of asparagus popping up down in there. We've been harvesting it real regular. We've got quite a bit in the freezer, and hopefully I'll take some time to video the process, how my wife takes and preserves that so that you can enjoy that harvest later. And over here, our thyme. I got to make my thyme joke because you never have enough time. But it's doing good. It's starting to fill out. Won't be long. If our temperatures warm up some, we should have some time to preserve. Okay, we're out here at the potato patch. I still haven't got down to running the tiller down the middle of the rows. But amazingly, even the potatoes that were exposed during this cold spell didn't show any damage at all, and that was really surprising. Some of it could have been because of the dirt, but I want to come out here and show you. Now, these potatoes were covered, and you can see they're popping up. And they'll start doing this real regular, especially since they've got some rain. It doesn't take potatoes long to recover. If you have a cold spell come in and you're trying to protect your potatoes, all you have to do is put dirt on them. A lot of people say, well, it's just it'll bite the top back that's exposed and they'll come back out. Yes, it will, but they'll recover quicker if they're just buried. So that definitely shows you how quick they'll come back, and depending on how deep I buried these whenever I did this field, to how they'll come back. I imagine next week when they do an update, if I can get around to it, they'll really be in good shape. It's one thing I really enjoy watching my potatoes, and I thought maybe that was a bug. And the thing you got to do out here with your potatoes is you have to check them regular, every day or two. Now these are shooting up really good, coming back out. So by next week, they'll really be in great shape. Fill back out. Now our lower garden, that is well, wrong direction. That is down there. I've got it all broke up. I broke it up a few times, and it's semi-ready to plant. Grass keeps coming back, which you can't keep it completely out. Now I wasn't going to do any corn this year, but I'm going to try to see if I can't figure a way to do corn to where I don't have to work so hard this year. Maybe be able to lay it by with my hilling attachment if I can get it set right, and plant me about 3 rows of corn, just so I've got a little bit of my Hickory King, so we can make hominy. It makes the best hominy as far as we're concerned. It's nice big fat kernels, and the flavor is great. We did make hominy with organic whole yellow corn, other field corn varieties with the smaller kernels, but to me it just wasn't as good, and it didn't have that firmer texture that the Hickory King had. But anyway, that's where we're sitting, and we got our chickens over there running around. We used to just keep them in their little chicken tractor, and move them around. But we decided to go ahead and put up the electric netting, give them a bigger area. And of course, they like it. I'm not going to say that they lay more eggs than they did when they were in their little coop, but as far as I don't have to move them every day or two to take care of that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update. I hope that if you don't have your garden in, or if you do, if it's doing well, and if you don't, I hope you success in the coming year, and we'll keep enticing you, those of you up north, with how our garden is doing down here, where we've got a little longer growing season. But anyway, if you want to see more, of course, hit that subscribe, hit the bell, select all, give it a big thumbs up, and as always, enjoy that gardening experience.